Does everybody need like a stand-up for 2 seconds? I've been sitting forever and my old back's killing me. So if anyone wants to stand up, please, those chairs don't look super comfortable. So. Well, thank you very much. We were talking backstage about the importance of these types of events and getting people together. We live almost exclusively through a screen these days, and it's showing up in our lives, and the opportunity to be eye to eye with people and get in a room together is really important. So I think this is a testament to the success of that, and hopefully it keeps happening. So thank you for that. So Farm Boy, this was probably the most difficult presentation. I'm sure this is going to be a theme that happens if you keep doing this. This is a really difficult thing to do for people that are connected to their businesses. I started this business 25 years ago. My nickname is Farm Boy. It's what they called me when I was working in restaurants and bars and going to art school. It was my till name. And so Farm Boy is me. So when you talk about your business, it's sort of like, how do you talk about you? So font change. So the designer in me, it's different PowerPoint. Oh my God, that's gonna creep me out. I'll get over it. Not without a twitch or two, I'm sorry, but anyways. So yeah, Farm Boy Fine Arts is a company I started out of art school. I grew up on a cattle ranch. I'll actually move past that slide. It started with these two wonderful people, my mother, my father. I always get choked up when I talk about them. But yeah. Because they are. So anyway, I did grow up on this ranch, and they were traditional farmers. We changed the way we did things about 45 years ago. My dad put this quote together, which I read when I was putting this presentation together. I didn't actually know he said it till I read it. And he said, we call ourselves herd quitters, people who break away from the status quo. I'm like, he's a creative, if you're going to pick him. He's actually a cowboy and was a professional bronc rider. My whole family are cowboys. I am not. But I am. And this is the weird life I grew up in and still am very much attached to. When I go home, I drive down our quarter-mile driveway and, put my cowboy boots on and get to work with him. He doesn't talk to me for a little while because my frequency is operating at somewhere else. It's not equivalent to where he needs to be. But, these two wonderful people have provided a basis for creativity and understanding and connection to land and place, which is, I think everything. Farm Boy is essentially what I am. We homesteaded in this place. That's our ranch 132 years ago in Alberta. So when I go back home, I sit with that as a counterweight to what I do here. And it's a place-making exercise every day. We do a lot of work in the world putting art and environments and curatorial events and exhibitions in place to different corporations around the world. But nothing has a greater sense of place than this to me. So when I go home, I go for a ride with him, and we have great conversations about not a lot, but everything. How that fence line needs to get replaced in the next few years. We do a lot of work with Ducks Unlimited, so we preserve wetlands and soil. We talk a lot about soil. It's weird for an art guy to talk about soil, but it's a huge passion about legacy and longevity of the world and the earth that we live in shows up in our soil. So we do a tremendous amount of work on protecting those pools of water and that soil that we're walking on. Incredibly important to me. I think I may have found the architect that I need to build something on this place with, sitting next to me, amongst others that I work with, but that's my home. how did I get from that to doing this? I went to art school. I had a conversation with my family. My father and my mother are very creative people. I believe that. They saw in me that I wanted to do something else. I was always drawing and working and doing these things, and I said, I think I want to go to art school. My dad said, well, that's okay, as long as it's Calgary or Edmonton, so you can come home and help out on the weekends. And what my uncle told me, he said, you're too light for heavy work and too heavy for light work. So, the art thing probably worked out for me. When I started Farm Boy, I was in a place, I was in Calgary. I was going to art school, and I was doing all these things to try to understand what I was going to do about making art in the world. I had this real belief from the first slide that creeped me out with the font that said, "We change lives with art." I believe that art actually does that. I believe that you walk into space and you participate in places and spaces, but they are glass, concrete, wood. They're buildings with people in them, and part of the context of those spaces is meaning, and meaning through art is what brings us back. So in working in these bars and restaurants and making fences, doing all kinds of things I could do out of art school to try to build this business, I would sit down, and I've always carried a sketchbook with me, and I'm not a linear thinker, so I would do drawings about the things I was thinking I was going to do. Farm Boy was the thing that was in my head I was going to do. I mapped out how that may be for me, and all of the things I had to do to maybe kick that off. That was in 2000. What did I have to do to get to doing that was get uncomfortable. And to me, getting uncomfortable it's not a slogan. It's something that I think all creatives do. We don't like doing it. It's the worst thing to do, is get uncomfortable. I like to be comfort. I like comfort, I like to be comfortable, but being uncomfortable every time I've been in that space it's taken me somewhere else. Net positive. So getting uncomfortable for me was defining what Farm Boy could be. I was looking at the world through the lens of, I want to put art in places. Who's going to do that with me? At the time, this is early 2000s, there's this idea about boutique hotels. I was like, okay, the idea of putting art in one place and then putting it in a bunch of rooms in a hotel in a unique place, that sounds interesting to me. So as W Hotels was the brand that was doing it sort of early in the 2000s. I went after them. I got uncomfortable. I flew myself to Seoul, Korea, because there was a W Hotel being built there. I had a couple connections that were allowing me some access to understanding what they were doing, but in no way did I understand how the hospitality business worked. I didn't understand how bidding worked, procurement worked, about putting packages together to sell to some other entity. So I just said, well, I'm just going to go meet these people. Saved up all my dollars, flew myself to Seoul, Korea, walked into the property, which I had no idea you could do or not do. Fortunately for me, they were in model room phase, so they had some working rooms, and I walked in with the general manager, who looked at me and said, what the F are you doing here? You're from Canada. This is Seoul, Korea. Why are you here? I said, well, I'm here to do your art for your entire hotel. And they said, that's not really how it works, but let's talk about what you're doing. So I did. I showed them concepts. I ran through the whole program of what I thought I could do for the property. They sent me back home. Told me I needed to meet design, architecture, procurement, and all these different people in all of these different places, which I did. Every shift I worked, every extra dollar I put together was enough for me to drive to some place to meet these people, and eventually I did get the contract. That was for the rollout of 2,200 pieces in Seoul, South Korea for W Hotels, which was their first property in Asia, South Asia. It was their first 5-star property, and Farm Boy did it. So when I started doing work post that, people would say, oh, you got this art idea, what have you done? So, well, we just did W Seoul, Korea. Oh, okay. The only way to do that and this is a statement that I grew up with, sort of something we would say on the farm all the time, or on the ranch all the time, was many hands make light work. When we had to put up feed, or we had to put fences together, or we had a branding, you can't do it by yourself. There's no way to do it by yourself. You have the idea, but you have to execute it with a team. Farm Boy is the greatest extension of me in terms of the team that's way better than me at the things that I can't do. So I have an incredible team, and some of them are in New York right now. They'll be in Detroit in the next couple of days, delivering and developing these wonderful projects for clients around the world. We do it together, and we do it through collaboration, which is kind of the best way to do it. So one of our clients is, again, relationships and developing work and doing unique things around the world. We landed Ford Motor Company. So Farm by Fine Arts is Ford Motor Company's global art advisor. So we build strategy and implement that strategy across all of their differing typologies around the world for Ford Motor Company and Ford Land. It's an incredible responsibility and an incredible gift to be able to do all this really cool work in all of these different places around the world. From artwork to architectural insets and curation, exhibition, brand work. Oh. I'd say that the next kind of piece that, if I look at sort of farming language, my grandfather used to say this to me all the time. He says, it takes a steady hand to carry a full cup. If you're given this opportunity to do all these really cool things around the world, you're busy. All of us are busy. It's really difficult to be busy. We just heard about all these challenges where we're faced with new lives, old lives, family, businesses. That management, that juggle of being able to do that is very, very difficult to do, but it is an incredible gift. One of the ways in which I sort of looked at this was late 2000s, I got a call. We got an opportunity to develop, it was for Yas Island in this place called Abu Dhabi, and they were doing an F1, and they said, we want you to come and have a look at the 7 hotels that we're going to be opening in 1 year. So I flew there and said, wow, that's impossible. That can't happen in 1 year. I showed up, and that's what I was standing on. It looked like Tatooine from Star Wars. I was there. I came back a month later. There was a concrete plant and an asphalt plant that they'd built, and they started dredging the entire place. I was like, holy shit, this is going to happen. So in 1 year, it went from that to that. So we delivered 7 hotels to different architectural firms, different developers, same developers, sorry, different engineering firms, interiors, delivery teams, the whole thing in roughly a year. I think it was around 10,000 pieces of work. We built one of the first ever contemporary collections of female Emirati works, which was an incredible, for my team, an incredible accomplishment because that was not a representation that was showing up in the place. I couldn't even go and, I could look at the work, but I couldn't even actually go at the time and have those conversations. Now I'm super proud that what we've built there, I think it really started to percolate and resonate because it was successful, and a lot of those voices and differing artisans and artists started to show up. It was incredible achievement for them and the team. Some other things, creatives go to crazy places. I showed up in a place called Azerbaijan to do a project for Fairmont, and I was detained. By the FSB, I don't know. I was put in a cell for hours and hours. I called my wife, and I said, I don't know if I'm getting out. I don't know what's going to happen. They didn't like the idea that some guy's coming to do art. So, stay measured and stay steady in that kind of strange place. But this is what inevitably ended up happening, was we got to participate in these 2 wonderful towers to build an art collection of Azerbaijani artists, and all our work from around the GCC. Another one happened in Tunisia. I showed up and we had an opportunity to develop Four Seasons in Tunisia. There was this thing called Arab Spring, and the gentleman funding the bill was under house arrest. He was the leader of the country, and that was our client. So I could only meet with his brother because his brother was in house arrest. And we had to drive around with security detail and all kinds of wild things. I mean, for art? But yeah, for art, because art is the thing that pulls us all together as humans. I'd say in all of these things, creatives, all of us in business and life alike, I mean, Lucas was saying it, you could give up. We were talking backstage about, oh, we should talk about the difficulties in your arc. And I was like, what do you mean, like this week? We're maybe wired for some difficulty. I don't think any of us like it. We get uncomfortable. But it's easy to be negative. It's really difficult to stay positive. And I believe that in staying positive, we have these opportunities that will come through the other side. I'll give you one reason to stay positive. We signed an agreement with a company called Virgin to do their cruise ships, and this was in 2019. We took delivery of this remit in 2020. We remember what happened in 2020. So we had a full, basically a hospitality business went to zero overnight. We had no clients, no revenue. We'd moved into a new building over here, tons of payments. We had 35 people, and we had a client that we had to deliver to in Italy, building a ship that we couldn't get to. We couldn't get out of the country. We couldn't have artists or artwork or be anything delivered to a marine-grade vessel in another country. You got to stay positive. We did deliver it, and it actually worked out really well. Oh my God, more bad fonts. But, you know, of all of it, I think what we're trying to do in terms of trying to change lives with art is, their art is about people. And at the heart of it, you know, we try to put good art in the world, but we're putting good art in the world because we're good people, and we're doing it for good people. And we think net-net that if we do that well, art does take us further. And that is one of the drivers and connectors to these types of opportunities and connections to people. So thank you for the opportunity to speak to you, and appreciate your time.